Now, has the Wokelyte, or I'm sorry, has the Acolyte destroyed Star Wars for good? Well, that's what we're here to talk about, ladies and gents. What is going on, ABY Nation? Newcomers to the channel, Star Wars fans around the world. We're here to talk about one of Disney's greatest failures, the Acolyte, ladies and gents. Now, before going into like the last episode, I actually rewatched the other episodes before in the right order it was supposed to be. So I rewatched episode 3 and 7, and then I rewatched the rest of the episodes in order the way it was supposed to be, because the way it was just all over the place. But still, watching in order did not save it at all. The good thing is, you know, I can give y'all a proper review. The bad thing is, I don't think it does well for my sanity. Now, watching episode 3 first, you know, we get the usual backstory of how the girls were on their home planet Brendok. We get to see that these girls, Osha and May, were force sensitive, but you know, we also found out that they were also created from, you know, manipulating the force through what they call it, the thread, I guess, which sounded interesting the way they was explaining in the show, but they need to go a little bit more in detail on what it really was, and they never did. When watching episode 7, I had to really go back on this because I had to turn on the subtitles because I could not understand if soul meant two virgins or aversions. So I'm not the only one who thought that. So, but with us learning how the girls was made, it just totally just diminished on how special and how unique it was when Anakin was born, to find out that he was a virgin in the Force. Because back then they made it seem like that Anakin was, you know, the chosen one, the person who's going to bring balance to the Force. But then come find out that 100 or 87 years ago that there was already a virgins from these two girls that they never spoke of. But, you know, Disney and or Star Wars, the new people in charge, they like to, you know, break the canon, you know, retcon things. So, you know, the usual. And I wasn't too sure about how Anakin was, you know, actually conceived. All we knew was that he was a virgin in the Force. But Star Wars Theory actually had a nice, good take on how Anakin was born.
You don't know how Anakin was made? Let me tell you. Everyone thinks that Darth Plagueis created Anakin. No, it's false. Darth Plagueis tried to create, with Palpatine, by influencing midichlorians to create the perfect Force-sensitive being, a dark side Force user. He failed. The Force said, no, you cannot do that. You cannot manipulate the Force to your will and create something that is an abomination, that favors the dark side. So what it did, what the Force did, was it created Anakin Skywalker randomly in Shmi. Anakin Skywalker is the Force's answer to Plagueis trying to manipulate it to create the perfect dark side being. Plagueis never created anything. Never created Anakin. The Force moves on its own, and if the Jedi are smart enough, they'll listen to it, and they'll move with it. Symbionts, as Qui-Gon says. This is what happens when you have someone who does not understand shit about Star Wars.
Now, Star Wars Theory is a true Star Wars fan who knows what he's talking about, all right? I never really thought about that. I know some people thought that Palpatine was the one who actually you know, manipulated Anakin to, you know, to actually be born through the Force, but to actually think about that, that was pretty damn good. See, I want to be like Star Wars Theory when I grow up. But I was kind of interested in episode 3, like I said, with the whole thing with the thread, the way they was explaining it, and then, you know, later on to the episode, this happened.
Power of 1, the power of 2, the power of many. The power of 1, the power of 2, the power of many.
I'm not gonna lie to y'all, I was at work when I was watching this, and I couldn't believe what was unfolding in front of my eyes. I was just thinking to myself, like, what the f***? What is this? That totally took me out of the whole experience of that episode. And part of me didn't even want to watch the rest of the episode. Didn't even want me to feel like, I didn't even feel like watching the rest of the series after that. Then the whole thing with the whole incident on Brendok, when May had started the fire, I still don't understand how that one little small fire just decided to just destroy the whole mountain. They never really gone in too deep on how that small little fire destroyed that whole complex. And then after watching, you know, the flashback episodes, we get to the usual regular episodes. Now, I was pretty interested in the first 2 episodes, when I say interested in, I'm like, I can't wait for the next few episodes. It was like, I'm just waiting to see what else is gonna happen in the next couple episodes, because just watching this series, it didn't really feel like Star Wars.
Sure, they had some cool lightsaber battles here and there, but that doesn't make it Star Wars.
You know, when I first watched the first episode, I thought that Osha was probably that Force sensitive assassin, because through the promotion for this, I only watched like one trailer. I didn't really see any other trailers or TV spots for this. I only saw one trailer, and they didn't really show any of the twins or Osha, or they just showed May for real. So I thought that Osha was the assassin. I'm not sure if that's a good or bad thing, but that makes you think, like, they had what I think they had like $180 million into this, so not much of it went into production. Didn't really go into the promotion, not that I know of. So I'm not sure what they was thinking when they was trying to make this series. But hey, Disney. Now with episode 4 was just really stupid. Nothing really happened. It was just a whole lot of walking and talking and walking, and then the only good thing about that episode was the last few minutes when Smiler Ren had showed up, flying through the air, cape flapping and just showing off true menace-like mentality, pushing Osho away and then force pushing all of the Jedi. That was the only significant thing about that episode. And then going on to episode 5, which was actually the only best episode out of the season, but at the same time, nothing too much really happened. Sure, we got to see some great fight choreography, some good saber battling between Smiler Ren and some of the Jedi. And then honestly, one of the most shocking things from the episode is when he killed Jackie, and then we get the reveal that he was actually Quimir the whole time. I hope I'm not the only one, but I thought that guy was Ezra Miller. I swear to you, I thought he was Ezra Miller. But back when I said that the episode 5, nothing really happened too much besides what happened to Jackie and then reveal Smiler Ren. It was just that we didn't really know anything about him afterwards. We didn't know what Soul was gonna tell Osha at the time, and we really didn't know what Quimir's true intentions are. I hope I'm really saying his name right. I really don't know. Then going into episode 6, which was another boring episode. Nothing really too much happened in that one. It was just Osha just staying with her Capitor, not doing anything. If I was her, I would have fled the planet. And my initial thought when we first saw that planet, I thought that was the same planet that Luke was on back in The Last Jedi, but I think they said it wasn't. Then the whole thing was Soul and May on the ship, where he was trying to tell her, what really happened on Brendock. It was just a whole bunch of them just trying to, tell them what was going on, and nothing really happened. And then leading on to the next episode, which is episode 7, like I already been talking about that, but episode 7 doesn't really make any sense. The whole flashback episodes doesn't really make any sense. All right, because we didn't really get anything from that. Then finally we get episode 8, the last episode. They really tried to redeem themselves, which having a few cameos. I remember seeing Darth Plagueis. I was like, who is that? I had to go back. I was like, oh shit, Darth Plagueis. And then for a quick 2 seconds, I was like, oh shit, Darth Plagueis. Please, no! Like, I think this was the most terrible way to show off Darth Plagueis. Darth Plagueis the Wise. Like, they could have did this totally different, introducing him. I know one of my supervisors at work, he was saying that we need something to a show or movie with Palpatine, and that would have been perfect. That would have been perfect, showing the rise of Palpatine, of him being with Darth Plagueis, him sneaking his way into the Senate, and but they fumbled. Star Wars fumbled. And the way they try to sneak him in was through this. Are you kidding me? And then later in the episode, we do get another cameo, which is towards the end. We see Master Yoda. I feel like Master Yoda should have been in this earlier on, but I think that would have diminished his reputation. So I'm pretty glad they, say that for the end. And another big thing about this is that that Jedi Master Vendora, I don't remember her name. That she pinned all of the murders from all the Jedi that Smiler Rant had killed in May. Excuse me. On to Soul. Like that just totally ruined this man's reputation. So you go cover up a big ass scandal that could have led to a whole other big thing for where you could have tracked down Smiler Rant and Osha to see what was really going on, but you decided to save the face of the Jedi and just pin the whole thing on Soul.
Dummy, yeah.
Then another big thing that happened in this episode was when Osha finally found out that Soul killed her mother after hearing him from like a great distance while he was whispering. Force choked him. And his death kind of felt predictable. His death was really predictable. I knew that Osha was probably gonna kill him as soon as she found out. But in a way, it was kind of poetic, I guess. And as she was doing it, the kyber crystal within the lightsaber was turning red. And when she ignited on Smiler Rant, it was like flashing blue and red, and then it just turned fully red, which was it's pretty cool, I guess. Now to talk about the pros and cons. Believe it or not, there are some pros and there are definitely a lot of cons, but let's talk about the pros first. Soul and Quimera, Smiler Rant. Those were the only two characters that I actually really liked in this series. Everybody else was just, I don't know, I didn't really feel emotionally attached to them. Especially Osha and May, I don't know. They characters, I don't know, I wasn't really too invested into them. To care, to say the least. So I thought he was a good Jedi for the most part, until after episode 5. Then Smiler Rant, he was a badass through and through. And after rewatching it from the correct order, you really get to see how Quimera was acting around Osha and May. You really saw who he really was. It was right there in front of us, but we didn't really know. But I'm pretty sure most people did know. They kind of figured it out. But Smiler Rant, definitely the best character in this. Second is Soul. Like I said before, I really think Quimera should have been, the whole thing should have been about him, to be honest with y'all. His lead up to him falling towards the dark side. And then him, and I don't know. I really don't know if he's in league with Plagueis. They really just do Plagueis in there like it was just supposed to be like, oh shit, Plagueis. Oh yeah, I'm ready to see more. No, no Star Wars. No, it doesn't work like that. And then another pro is to me, I actually like the fight choreography, the fight scenes in this. It was actually pretty good. I remember them saying that once we see these fight scenes, we're gonna be thinking that these are even better than what we saw in the prequel trilogies. Psych! See, the difference between the fight scenes that we had in this and from the prequel trilogies, with the fight with Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan versus Darth Maul, and then, with Anakin versus Obi-Wan in episode 3, those fights had stakes, all right? Those fights had meaning to it. The whole thing with Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan versus Darth Maul, we got to see it was fighting for justice and to find out who this Darth Lord or Darth Apprentice is, to see what his true intentions are, and to see if he's part of a bigger scheme in the long run. Like nothing can top what we saw when this man pulled up in a double-bladed lightsaber fighting Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan at the same time. All right, and you think that what we had in the Acolyte is on par or even better than Anakin versus Obi-Wan, you must be smoking something that we haven't discovered yet. Because that fight was definitely had high stakes. It had meaning. That whole fight was just
perfect. Perfect. Everything, down to the last minute details.
That might be one of the, hands down, arguably, one of the greatest fights that we have seen in Star Wars history. You can say that, you know, Qui-Gon, Obi-Wan versus Darth Maul is up there. The fight between Luke and Darth Vader in Episode 5. There's a lot of good ones. But to compare it to that, hell no. No. Is it better than what we have seen in the last decade with Star Wars has been making? Definitely the Acolyte fight scenes is better than what we had in the sequel trilogy. And me personally, believe it or not, I actually like the sequel trilogy.
Hey yo, what the fuck?
Now I'm pretty sure I just lost most of y'all when I said that comment, but the Last Jedi was definitely the best out of that trilogy. Any of the fights that was in there wasn't pretty good because it looked like they were just, you know, swinging their lightsabers around, not knowing what they was doing, especially with, you know, Kylo Ren. You know, you would think he's, you know, a master wielder, but, you know, he got beaten by Rey, who hasn't, you know, had the lightsaber in the last year or day or so. But y'all ain't ready for that talk for the sequel trilogy. Y'all ain't ready. Now for the cons about this show, because guess what? There's a lot of them. I'm pretty sure you will agree on most of them. Deaths in this series were completely stupid and so avoidable. The first one was Indara. Her death was so cliche. It was so cliche. Like, Indara should have knew what May's intentions was when she threw that knife at the little bartender. She should have known that another knife was coming at her through the chest, but, you know, she was just blinded by something for her not to see it. And then the thing with Torben, his death didn't really make any sense. Looking back from the flashback episodes, rewatching them, it didn't really make any sense why he did that. And then Kelnaka's death, that was off screen. The only time we really saw him was through the flashback episodes. That was pretty much it. And then Soul's death, I already talked about that, but, you know, he was blinded about, you know, May's true intentions when she was, you know, on the ship, when she was handcuffed. He was indeed a flawed man because he was just guided by his emotions, which a Jedi should not be. The most dumbest and the most stupidest deaths, yes, deaths, plural, something that we don't understand, I'm pretty sure most people don't, is the whole witches, the coven, when Indara was trying to, you know, get Kelnaka's mind back to the way it was. After she did that, the entire witch coven just completely just fell over. Like they saw Andy was coming and they decided to, you know, just play dead. Then I really don't care about the whole woke stuff that they usually put in here. It was not too long ago that I didn't really know what the word woke mean. But only say that because, you know, some people might ask down in the comments, you know, what'd you thought about the woke stuff? I really don't care about it unless they don't really throw it too much in our face. So I didn't really care too much about it. Oh, it was actually one thing that that was in episode 6 that I thought was really funny and stupid. Is when Osha had put on Smilo Ren's mask, and, you know, they show her like a headshot of her with it. It kind of reminded me of the one dude in Halloween movies when he put on a mask. My initial thought when I first saw that, I was like, oh man, oh my gosh, that's just like that dude from Halloween. It's either the therapist or the one dude in the recent Halloween movie. But what y'all came to see is what the title of the video is. The grand old question of today: has the Acolyte destroyed Star Wars? I believe so. I think this was the final nail on the coffin for Star Wars fans. I think this was the final project that they thought was completely over it, and, you know, most of the Star Wars fans are completely done, never watching Star Wars ever again. But, you know, curiosity is the name of the game, because after what we saw in this last episode, we saw Darth Plagueis and Yoda, so we know that there's going to be a season 2. And I kind of think that they will have a season 2 is because, you know, Disney, they have made great projects. They have done great stuff. They've done it before in the past. So later in the future, they're going to do it again. But at the same time, they're so oblivious. They don't know. They don't even realize that they're even losing money.
Wait a minute. How did this happen? We're smarter than this. Apparently not.
But sooner or later, they are going to turn things around because we've already seen it with Marvel, what they doing with Deadpool and Wolverine, and then with the recent trailer of, you know, Captain America 4. They're listening to the fans, and they're bringing back old Marvel fans that didn't want to watch Marvel ever again because of what happened, you know, with Captain Marvel or, you know, with the Eternals. So they actually listen to the fans, and, you know, they're trying to reel us back in because of curiosity. Like I said before, curiosity is the name of the game, and they're gonna do that with Star Wars too. They go do everything right, and that's how they go get the old Star Wars fans back into what they're doing now. So that's why I think that why they go do a season 2, because in the last decade we've seen that they can do better. We've seen it with the Mandalorian, we've seen it with Obi-Wan, we've seen it with Ahsoka, because those 3 shows was, to me, I thought was pretty damn good. Last season of Mandalorian wasn't really all that good, but, you know, the first 2 seasons were great. I loved Obi-Wan Kenobi, and I really liked Ahsoka, but I didn't really feel too much attached to it because it dealt with stuff with Star Wars Rebels, and I'm sad that I didn't really get to finish Star Wars Rebels, but still, Ahsoka was a pretty damn good series. And then to compare it to the other stuff they had, you know, Andor and Book of Boba Fett. Andor, I wasn't really too keen about it for the first few episodes, but I got hooked in for the last few. And then the Book of Boba Fett. The only good thing about the Book of Boba Fett was the cameos that they had in there. They had, you know, they brought in Mando. They had Bane. They showed off Ahsoka. We had Luke training Grogu. And then the interactions with Ahsoka and Luke. Oh my gosh, when I first saw that, I almost cried tears. Star Wars and Disney, they know what they're doing. They know how to make good product. They know what they're doing. But they decide to make stuff like this and think that it's okay, but it's not. These past 8 weeks, I've been watching a whole bunch of reviews about the Acolyte. And I remember watching Tyra Magnus. He was saying that the beginning and the end for Star Wars was The Last Jedi. To me, I kind of thought it was The Rise of Skywalker, but actually thinking back, the fans was like really divided about the sequel trilogy, especially when The Last Jedi came out. Like I said before, I actually like The Last Jedi. I'm not gonna lie, there were some moments that wasn't really too good about it, like the whole entire B plot with Finn and the one girl that he was with, and then with Poe taking over after Leia was, you know, injured. Everything he was doing was just completely stupid while he was in control. And then we got to see Luke again, but, you know, he wasn't really the Luke Skywalker we remembered. Other than that, I thought the movie was great. I did like the first movie, and then the third movie, I only saw it once, and that was in theaters when it, that weekend it first came out. I went to see it with Alex. He fell asleep on me. so that goes to show you how bad that movie was. But that was my review or / rant of Star Wars The Acolyte. If you feel the same way, let me know down in the comments about how you feel about Star Wars as a whole, what Disney has been doing to Star Wars in the last decade. Make sure you leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new here. I really appreciate that. It really helps us out. Make sure you hit the notification bell, stay updated with our content. If you want to see more stuff like this, make sure you stay tuned for us, because we're making great things on here. And for people who don't know, we do have a Patreon. All right, there will be stuff coming on there in the next couple weeks. We're really trying to put stuff on there for y'all to watch on there. It's gonna be a whole bunch of reactions coming soon. There will be some polls coming up. Hopefully we can do like a podcast pretty soon, and a few other good things that's on there, that's gonna be on there in the next couple weeks. So stay tuned, and I will see y'all in the next one. All right, and cheer up. All right, listen, The Boys is coming out. All right, look forward to that. That's gonna make the week even better. All right, now I'm about to go watch the original trilogy.